Definitely a crisp in the air this morning, and no doubt a series that has every bit of a postseason feel. Two National League heavyweights fighting for the division. It's the New York Mets and the reigning World Series champion Atlanta Braves. Two bitter rivals who began this series last night. Atlanta was a game back before they do what they do best. That is hit home runs. Austin Riley, Matt Olson, they go back-to-back. Then Dansby Swanson chipping in later off of Jacob deGrom. And at that point, the reigning champs handed over to the bullpen and Kenley Jansen to shut the door on the Mets. Braves take game one, 5-2 the final score. Right now, both teams even, 98 and 59 atop the division. Remember, there's no game 163 this year. Both teams are guaranteed the postseason at this point, but they want the crown in the East. Right now, the Mets hold the season series advantage by one game. We're thrilled to have you with us for a great one on hand here tonight. Aaron Goldsmith alongside the Hall of Famer John Smoltz. John, both these teams have circled this series on the calendar for months. This is what you play for.
These are two great teams. They battled all year, although the Braves came back from 10.5 down to be in this situation, to have a chance to win a division. And I think winning a division is huge. It doesn't guarantee you a trip to the World Series, but it sure helps.
Well, for the Braves, very aggressive lineup. We saw that last year. We're seeing it again this year. They hit more home runs than almost any team. They lead the National League. And the three guys we just saw who went deep last night, they struggled last month. The calendar flips to October. They're hoping to get back to their hitting ways.
Timing's everything, and what better timing for these three guys to hit homers off of one of the best pitchers in the universe. You see what they did in September, but it doesn't matter because those three home runs propelled them for a chance to win the series and possibly sweep. So when you get hot, you got to get hot at the right time.
Hey, more than just one dynamic lineup in this series. The Mets have been one of the best lineups in baseball as well. They've got some thunder as well. We're, of course, talking about Pete Alonso, a 40 home run season. He set the Mets single season franchise record in RBIs. He leads all of baseball.
He does. He has a lot of guys in front of him to get on base, and he's one of the best bad ball hitters in all of baseball. All he does is knows how to drive in runs, hit for power, and Pete Alonso is believing he's one of the best, and why not? Because this lineup is one of the best in the National League.
Who's going to slow these lineups down? We've got a pitching matchup that we can't overlook as Alonso continues to hopefully add on for his sake to his major league total in RBIs. Kyle Wright, the former first-round draft pick, has really emerged this year for the Braves.
I don't want to get too excited, but this is absolutely a dream matchup. Kyle Wright was 120, and what did the Mets need? They went out and got Max Scherzer for this particular game. Hope it lives up to its billing.
Scherzer, one of the game's greats. I think he's ready to go. This will be his third start since coming off the injured list. This should be a thrilling matchup here tonight. It's the Mets and the Braves. We've got first pitch coming right after this on Fox. Turns 27 years old tomorrow. Former 5th overall draft pick out of the powerhouse of Vanderbilt. He is having a sensational breakout season. One of the game's great ground ball pitchers. What a big night for Kyle Wright, John.
Yeah, look for him to have a lot of breaking balls. It's a specialty. Curveball, slider, changeup, and see if he can throw enough strikes with that sinker against a great patient lineup. The Mets. There's the breakdown of Kyle Wright. He's having a fantastic year. Wants to finish it on a high note and give the Braves an opportunity to take this series.
Brandon Nimmo leads things off for the Mets.
No.
Just missing ball one.
One of the things that Kyle Wright does, he doesn't throw a high percentage of strikes with that sinker because he's really trying to get the hitters to expand the zone. But the Mets, as a team, do not expand the zone that much. That's why they're tough and they put the ball in play.
He dots him up at 96 this time. Yeah, both of these teams feature two of the best lineups in baseball. Mets come into this one 5th in the game in runs per game, 2nd in on base. They don't slug quite the same way the Braves do. Few teams do. They are a contact heavy lineup as the count pushes to 1-2.
And the one thing last night, they faced a lot of curveballs out of Max Fried. Although be it left-handed, they're going to have to face a lot of curveballs out of Kyle Wright. And it'll be interesting to see who expands the zone, who gets out of themselves in this huge game when they're tied.
No.
They appeal on the check swing. It does not go. You can hear Bruce Dreckman, our home plate umpire, saying he did not go around.
When you're in a game like this and you know as a pitcher how important it is, you want to face an aggressive team. You want to face a team that wants to do something at the plate, because they'll swing at pitches like that trying to make things happen. But what makes the Mets so unique, not only do they hit for average, like I said, they put the ball in play more than most of the teams because they don't just go up there and slug, swing and miss and expand the zone.
Mets the 3rd highest contact rate in baseball, also the 3rd lowest strikeout rate in the game. Here comes the 3-2 on the ground past Swanson, and Nimmo is aboard. The rest of Buck Showalter's starting lineup looks like. Of course, Pete Alonso batting second. He homered twice off of right already this season. Meanwhile, Francisco Lindor just saw his on-base streak snapped in 19 games. McNeil, one of the game's great hitters, second in the league, batting .322. Vogelbach is in the lineup with the right-handed right up on the mound. Now, Tyler Naquin, a couple of home runs in a previous start for right against the Mets this year, and Tomas Nido doing the catching. Alonso's National League ranks, he leads the game in RBIs. He's second in the league with 40 home runs, and he's slugging well over 500. Having a monster year. A wave and a miss for strike one.
Well, it's strength against strength because he's one of the best low ball hitters in the game, and I talked about him being a great bad ball hitter. He'll hit more for power out of the zone than most guys will even attempt to swing at. So it's going to be that ability to make him look like that pitch is a strike in the bottom of the zone, but drop it out and get him to chase.
Talk about all the additions for the Mets on the field this year. Maybe their biggest addition is in the dugout with Buck Showalter. Mets having a sensational season in his first year in Flushing. Ball and a strike to Alonso.
Well, that froze him right there. That pitch to Alonso was never going to be a strike as it started in. It's one of those front door. It's a mistake breaking ball. He's trying to throw it on the outside part of the plate because where you can expand the zone is away down off the plate. Anything on the plate he can get to, and he can get to with power to all parts of the field.
I am good.
Since the start of last month, 9 home runs for Pete Alonso. Only 3 players in the game have hit more home runs in that span of time, and as you might imagine, Aaron Judge is one of them. Also Mike Trout.
Well, the one thing that Kyle Wright has done against right-handers, over 62% of the time they hit the ball on the ground. He's got one of the best ground ball rates you already mentioned, but against right-handers he really gets them to hit it on the ground. So that brings in the double play ball, which he's had a few of them. I'm always jealous of the double play ball for those ground ball guys. 2 for the price of 1.
Well, he has 25 of them on the year, tied for the most in the game this year.
Yeah, he definitely can entice that ball to that great infield that the Braves have. Even though Albies is not playing second base, this infield can cover ground.
Albies back on the injured list. He will miss the rest of the regular year. 3-2, so a full count to the first 2 batters. Lindor is on deck.
So that's going to be the key in tonight's game. How many strikes can he throw and get outs with fastballs? Because he wants that fastball out of the zone. But if these Met hitters do not come out aggressiveness, do not come out of themselves, they're going to make Kyle Wright throw a lot of these kind of pitches. 3-2, 2-2, 3-2 all night.
Walked him. Fastball in the dirt. First 2 Mets reach base.
So the last couple he's pulled his sinker. When I say pull it, you're really trying to force it in there, but see how it comes off his hand and never really looked like it was going to be a strike. That ball's supposed to be bearing in on the right-handed hitter. That's the specialty of Kyle Wright. When you hear arm side fastball, whenever you've heard somebody say that, as a right-handed pitcher, that's the fastball into a right-hander. Glove side fastball is going to be the opposite. And so he's really good to his arm side, but early on he's not been able to pound that for strikes.
Such a difficult year last year for Lindor. My goodness, different story this year. Mets shortstop record both in home runs and RBIs. RBI chance here. Strike one. Since July the 1st, Lindor batting a crisp, clean .300 right on the button. Nimmo at second, Alonso the runner at first base. Wright gets ahead 0-2.
Now the first two pitches you couldn't place any better. That's where Lindor gets all of his strikeouts. The majority of them are going to be down and in on the breaking ball that is going to that back foot that he fouled off. And can he make it 3 in a row, or does he try to expand the zone outside and get him reaching for something? But two perfectly placed pitches when traffic was on the bases at first and second and nobody out.
Got a lot of the plate fouled away. Now the defense tonight behind Wright. We've talked about the infield a little bit already. Michael Harris II has been one of the most dynamic young players in the game and very well could win the National League Rookie of the Year award. He is Gold Glove caliber in center field. Now the infield will be busy. Riley at third, Swanson and Arcia up the middle, and the Gold Glover over at first base in Matt Olson. D'Arnaud, the veteran former Met, does the catching. Wright working with some early traffic.
Think about on a pitch, when you talk about what is a back foot breaking ball, you want to bounce it almost to where the batter's box is on a breaking ball.
Swing and a miss. Gets him to expand off the plate with the fastball. Out number one.
Kyle Wright can throw a 4-seamer and a 2-seamer. That was your 4-seamer up, out over the plate. Good extension. Here's a guy who can flat out hit.
Now Jeff McNeil batting .322. Look at his numbers for his career. 53 games against Atlanta, batting .330. Third highest among active players. He's been even better in this ballpark. Takes inside for ball one.
Well, the one thing about McNeil is he's hunting for hits, and there's a different type style of hitting when you're hunting for hits. But if you throw a ball middle in, down and in, he will hit it for power. That's where his power stroke is. But that's the reason you can't shift him. He will go to all parts of the park depending on where you throw him. But if you leave one middle in, his swing plane will get the right field home run.
Way outside 2-0. Already pretty lengthy first inning here for Kyle Wright. 20 pitches. Just one out. Leadoff single to Nimmo, then the walk to Alonso. Line into right field. Nimmo will be held at third. And the Mets early on have him loaded up.
Well, this is classic. This is how you hit .330. I mean, there's not really anything wrong with this swing. Short to the ball. See how it's in that middle to down, and he goes right with it. Classic short stroke, barrels the ball up. Another line drive, but unfortunately for the Mets, he hit it too hard. And the good arm of Acuna prevented a run from scoring.
Oh, we're talking about that double play ball. Wright would love one of those right here. Eduardo Escobar, coming off a sensational month of September. Has he ever turned his season around? Bases loaded, one out. Swing and a miss for strike one. Batting .340 in September. leading the league in OPS, the 8 home runs. So it's not just the contact, some power as well for Escobar. Missed some time on the injured list, dealt with an oblique. And before getting red hot, he was batting beneath 220, low on base as well. It's a brand new hitter though. Oh, 2.
Well, early on, he throws a high percentage. About 70% of his pitches for strikes are breaking balls, and you can see he's got a feel for that. He's got to get a feel for that fastball that he hasn't been able to command. There's that backdoor kind of spinning slider, and the curveball has been a swing and miss pitch so far here in the first inning.
His 0-2. Ground ball, softly chopped. Olson off the bag. A run scores. Escobar retired, but Nimmo, that leadoff single, goes station to station all the way around to the Mets. Take an early 1-0 lead here in the first inning.
Well, there's that contact. 2 strikes. Didn't throw the ball where he wanted to and hit it soft enough to get that run in. The Mets took that 1-run lead last night with DeGrom on the mound. So whenever you're the visitor, of course you want to score first. Given the circumstances of Max Scherzer, you know when you're Kyle Wright, you don't have to be told who you're going against. Even though you don't pitch against that guy anymore, he's not at the plate. But you know you cannot afford a big inning because the guy that you're pitching against usually doesn't give up many big innings.
He's chomping at the bit to get out there. This will be his 3rd start since coming off the injured list. Here is Vogelbach. Well outside. We've seen some bad misses from Wright, haven't we? Yeah,
it's a little anxious. He's getting out in front with that left shoulder. That left shoulder is the key for any pitcher. It's different for Max, and I'll explain the difference, but he needs to keep that front shoulder in longer because his sinker will break and he'll be on command with that fastball. When you're throwing a breaking ball, you can leak your front shoulder a little bit more because you're spinning the ball, but when you're throwing a fastball, 4-seam or 2-seam, you got to be more straight line. You have to have that target be more on line, because if you're pulling your left shoulder towards first base, it's going to be hard to command that ball in the zone.
2 outs, 2 on. The 1-1. Wave and a miss. 1-2.
So when you see it from the hitter standpoint, see how that shoulder stays in there and then is on perfect timing to throw the pitch. When that shoulder leaks towards first base, then the arm has to catch up, and when it can't catch up, it's going to be off on command.
Well, they're already up on their feet. Piece, and he took a piece out of d'Arnaud. He says he's all right. Kyle Wright trying to limit the damage here in the first inning. 28 pitches. 2 on, 2nd and 3rd, 2 outs. When the Mets score first, 78-15, 3rd highest in the majors. The 1-2. Shot back towards the mound. Easy play for Wright. Wright limits the damage. He allows a run. The Mets strand a pair. And that man, Mad Max, has been given an early 1-run lead. Against the Braves lineup, 3rd in runs, 2nd in home runs in Major League Baseball this year. Dansby Swanson, a home run last night. Meanwhile, Michael Harris, the 2nd, is a home run shy of a 2020 season as a rookie. Riley and Olson went back-to-back last night. Eddie Rosario was starting to pick things up once again for Atlanta. He bats 8th and is in left field. Strike 1 to Ronald Acuna Jr. On the ground. McNeil is right there, and Acuna quickly retired. Three-time Cy Young Award winner, the former World Series champ with the Nats, Max Scherzer. 4 strikeouts from continuing to climb on the all-time list, looking to get to 12th all-time tonight.
Well, this guy's amazing. He's unorthodox in the way that he pitches, but he pitches with extreme motion and passion. And he's going to be complete opposite of how he gets hitters out compared to his counterpart, Kyle Wright. He's going to throw a lot of 4 seams up. Really good slider, good changeup. You see the breakdown of pitches right there.
This is popped up. Scherzer's going full steam ahead. He slows down at the railing.
What'd I tell you? Full emotion and passion, and he definitely is made for these games, and he's not going to take anything for granted. By the way, that's no big thing for him because he runs about 3 to 4 miles every day. He's one of the few pitchers in today's game that runs. What, 38, 39?
Was Nick, you're ready to keep him from going down the steps there?
I don't know.
Nothing in 1 on Swanson.
Well, Swanson hit that home run off of DeGrom, and he has not missed many pitches middle to middle in. His power stroke is in the inner half. You can get him out away, and you mentioned in the beginning, and these guys were struggling coming in September, but that home run was a big one last night against DeGrom.
No. Now Scherzer, 38 years old. Maybe not 3 or 4 miles on game day, but
not on game day, but I guarantee tomorrow he'll run the stadium, he'll run outside. Unless he's got a lower leg issue, he's going to run 3 to 5 miles. It's a throwback to him. He's always going to be ready for his game physically. He's not going to be tired. He might be mentally fatigued as the game goes on, but he's not going to be physically unable to go 9 innings.
Dansby Swanson ahead in the count. Well, the question with Scherzer is the oblique.
Right.
Missed some time on the injured list. This is his 3rd start back. His last time out, just over 90 pitches. He said earlier in the week he feels like he is clear for a full workload, 100 pitches plus in this one today. But obviously the oblique is the issue for Scherzer. Can it be at full strength?
Yeah, I mean, talking to Buck, he said he's pretty honest, as his manager said of his pitcher, and so he lets him know how he's doing.
Line sharply, shoelaces high. Lindor right there to snare it. For more on Scherzer, we go down to the field. We say hello to Ken Rosenthal. Kenny?
Well, Aaron, Max Scherzer said the oblique issue has been wild for him to navigate, and it's the first injury of his career that he blames entirely on himself. During his start against the Cardinals May 18th, he experienced a tightening on his side, similar to what he had in an early May start last year at Yankee Stadium. That problem turned out to be just an inflamed rib cartilage, did not cause him to miss any time, so he stayed in the game against the Cardinals without telling the Mets athletic trainers what was going on, figuring he could get through the issue. Well, it turned out he caused himself real damage, snapping the oblique. The trick now is for him to monitor the area carefully, and Max said he has developed a better feel for doing that during games. He said, "I'm just trying to get to the offseason and reset for next year. This is life in the big leagues."
Yeah, John, how difficult is that for him to navigate?
It is. I mean, he's pitched long enough that he knows he can pitch without max effort, right? I mean, we're in an era of max effort. Everybody throws as hard as they can. But he knows how to pitch. And, when way back when everybody thought, oh, there's no way this guy can last. Look at his mechanics. They're not prototypical. He knows his body. And now he's just dealing with something that he has to alter every once in a while.
Chasing that fastball up out of the zone. Well, you go back to mid-May facing Pujols, and many of us remember this from Scherzer. This is not a good look at all. People were fearing the absolute worst here. I mean, he pulled the plug immediately. Full count to Michael Harris II. Scherzer a chance for a quick first inning. Instead, this is smoked out to center, but instead Nimmo flags it down, and Harris, a hard out number 3, and Scherzer does get that 1-2-3 first. Telecast is sponsored by Ford, built for America. And by Progressive, making it easy to bundle your home and car insurance. A very pleasant night here in Atlanta. 70 degrees. Kyle Wright was a taxing first inning, 30 pitches. Was able to strand a pair in scoring position, did allow a run. Facing Mark Canha to lead off here in the second. Canha, one of the offseason free agent additions for the Mets. Long ago, a Rule 5 draft pick, forged a great career for himself in Oakland. And now playing for the Mets and having a strong first year. It's been hit a lot, hit a lot of pitches this year. Of course, that's been a theme for the Mets this season, and Canha has been leading the charge. Easy play for Swanson for round number 1.
I guarantee you, in between innings, there had to be a conversation of let's get that fastball going, and he's been on the attack the first hitter. 3 strikes in a row. You mentioned those 28 pitches, or 28 plus pitches in the first inning. That'll shock your system. So you want to go back and get back in rhythm, and they had that conversation. I'm sure Rick, one of the best pitching coaches in the game, and dealing with 2 great pitching staffs on this field, Mets and the Braves.
And those 30 pitches for Wright in the first inning tied his high water mark for any single inning this year. He's facing Tyler Naquin here. Now, Naquin in the lineup for one reason in particular. He homered twice off of Wright in an earlier matchup this year. Earlier this season with the Reds, acquired by the Mets.
No.
Checks his swing. He does not go. Early August for Naquin. Back at Citi Field. Not once, but twice. Guessing he had a pretty good idea he'd be in the lineup today.
Yeah, I mean, the numbers for the Mets against Kyle Wright have all been pretty good. This is a different pitcher than they're facing today than they have in the past. He's come into his own. Of course, been a rocky first 3-4 years for him. Last year's playoff start really kicked it in for him. Or it wasn't a playoff start, it was a playoff appearance. He came in with the bases loaded. And this year he's put it all together. He's got 20 games under his belt that he's won, and he's rewarded Snitker for all that work he put in the offseason.
Oh, what a silly looking swing that was. Well, that was some filthy stuff from Wright.
And see, this is the point I was making. If you could throw enough strikes early, then you can be nasty out of the zone. You don't have to throw a lot of strikes when you get ahead of the hitters. And there's just a pitch that sweeps across the plate. And, excuse me, little uh-oh.
Two up and two down. A much crisper start to this inning for Kyle Wright compared to the first inning. Nito's really started to come alive for the Mets.
No.
Their 9-hitting catcher takes up and in for ball 1. Wright gets ahead 1-2.
Much more on attack here, and of course, you know, not going through the heart of the lineup.
Facing the bottom third of the order here in the second inning. Wright's 1-2 pitch. right has been so dominant. The Braves, of course, such a good team to begin with. They have won 14 of his last 15 starts. Only twice in that span has he allowed more than 2 runs. Harris comes in. Harris is able to stab it out of midair. He's going to be a good one for a long time. Michael Harris. Side retired. First pitch strike to Austin Riley to begin things here in the home second inning. Riley, the Braves cleanup hitting third baseman. And the only Braves hitter to homer this year off of Max Scherzer. He has 38 home runs. It's had a monster year. Paid off with a long-term extension. Way outside.
Well, Scherzer just creates an illusion to, it doesn't matter right-hander or left-hander, but you can imagine how tough he is on right-handers when he comes across with all these arms and legs and sweeps that slider, which he was trying to do there, but he just spiked it. But he can elevate the fastball. He can hit all quadrants.
Left side and through. It's past Lindor. Riley has the first hit tonight for Atlanta. Let's go back to the final out of the top half of this inning. Harris, you could see it, kind of a last-second adjustment there on a ball that looked like it was knuckling on him. And did it knuckle? Colin McHugh and company in the bullpen would tend to say yes. He has been so much more than anybody could have expected.
It's unreal, the contributions that they've gotten this year out of the young players.
First pitch strike to Olson.
I mean, it's hard to say that they're better than last year, but they are better than last year. Last year they got a bunch of players to fill in, got hot at the right time. They went through this incredible run, won the World Series. This year they have depth. They had their injuries. Mets have had their injuries, but they've had the players come in and complement each other and fill in at the right time.
Nothing in 2 on Olson.
See the average 238. That's went through a tough spell leading into this month, and he hit that home run last night, making some mechanical adjustments with his hands. Sometimes as a hitter you get disconnected. You can see where his hands are. It's unorthodox and how he applies his stance and where he puts his hands and the timing. But he hit it the other way for a lot of power.
This time chopping. Scherzer lets it go past him. McNeil, a little option pass to Escobar covering. Third baseman there at second. They get the lead runner Riley. They swap runners at first base. You could win Big Papi's money tonight playing Fox Bet Super 6. Super 6 has given away over $6.5 million to over 80,000 winners and counting. For your chance at $10,000, pick up your phone. You can download the Super 6 app now.
I think if Riley had to do that all over again, he would have kept going faster to get to second base. I don't know that they would have had a play. I think he tried to mess up the hop knowing they weren't going to turn 2, but he delayed his ability to get to second. And, you know, of course, at second, there's a runner in scoring position.
D'Arnaud swings and misses. Back to it.
Seeing it live, I could be wrong, but see how he slows up right there, and just slowing up right there, trying to get in the way of McNeil might have cost him an opportunity. I think McNeil would have had to make a decision on going to first had Riley taken off full bore to get to second. I mean, not fleet of foot, but he's not super slow either.
As it is, 1 out and 1 on. Olson at first base. Travis d'Arnaud at the plate.
See, Max's 95 is like 100 for DeGrom. I mean, the way that he throws, DeGrom is a little bit different pitcher, of course, a freak in the way that he throws a baseball, but almost looks like Max throws uphill at times. Like he gets underneath the ball, even though his fingers are on top of the ball when he delivers it.
And misses in the dirt. 1-2 to d'Arnaud. He's one of the all-time great strikeout leaders in baseball. He passed you on the all-time list earlier this year, John.
Oh yes. Verlander did as well.
What was one more gracious than the other? Was this acknowledged in your presence in any way? A text, email, call, FaceTime?
No, nothing.
Is it better just to be left unsaid? Like,
I think so.
You know.
I think so.
You know.
Just leave it alone.
But would you have taken the call, hadn't they?
Oh yeah. No, I congratulated Verlander because I got his number, and probably should have congratulated Max. Now that you let me know, I'm gonna have to reach out.
I think didn't mean to expose you like that. Ball and 2 strikes to d'Arnaud. He's having a great year, an all-star this year for the first time. Yeah, John, 3,084 punch-outs all-time, 19th in baseball history. Scherzer's got a chance to get to 12th on the all-time leaderboard tonight. That bounces in and goes all the way to the backstop. And with that, Olson scampers into second base.
Well, this is the best Mets team that I have seen since, in my opinion, since I've been retired. And adding Max Scherzer and, of course, that man, Buck Showalter, has put them in elite company this year. Of course, they're going to probably win 100 games, and who knows what the future holds for the postseason. But if that pitching staff stays healthy, they're going to be a tough out in the postseason.
First runner in scoring position early on tonight for Atlanta.
And I know we talked about it, but the reason this series is so huge, and we got the blessing of being right here to see this game, the new playoff format changes everything. Like, yeah, both these teams are in the playoffs, and they're glad they're in the playoffs, but there's no doubt winning the division and getting that bye is huge to reset that long year and reset your rotation so you don't have to face that first team 2 out of 3.
He froze him. The hook gets strike 3. First punch out tonight for Scherzer.
Every once in a while he'll break out that slow curveball, and it just froze him. He tried to put his elbow, he tried to do whatever he could, call a timeout. But he knew once that pitch got across home plate, he was in trouble. Good pitch and a good change of speeds.
For Scherzer, is that pitch, you mentioned it is rare, is that best used either first pitch of an at-bat or long in an at-bat with 2 strikes?
Yeah, it depends on what the hitter's timing is doing. It's really a disruption of timing, and he can throw it anytime he wants. But that's the signature pitch. That's the pitch that on camera looks like, you know, at home, like, yeah, it's right down the middle. How can you not hit that? He has such late spin to it, and his release point is so unique that it, you know, it's tough on right-handed hitters.
Is this the release point that looks like it's coming out of your shoulder?
No, it actually looks like he's throwing, like I said, the best way to describe it is looks like he's throwing uphill and across his body. Like he throws across his body anyways, but when he elevates a fastball, it literally looks like it's an upshoot fastball, and they don't see the spin of it because he's so far down the mound, and then the slider makes everything. No. Like when he can throw a fastball on the outside part of the plate and spin his slider, right-handers have no chance. But then he can also bust it inside. We haven't really even talked about his changeup, which really was a signature pitch for a long time.
Matt Olson at second base. Check swing fouled back, 2-2.
Again, you're the batter and you're looking at this and you see, oh, he's going to go over the top, but he really doesn't. He drops and then see the low 3/4 and then the hand comes up. So it's, you don't really see it. It's not your prototypical top of the hand over the shoulder 3/4 delivery. It's really funky, and he has a lot of spin that he creates with the way that he throws it.
It's 2-2. Ozuna skies this to shallow right field. McNeil drifts out. Naquin makes the catch. Olsen stranded in scoring position. 2 innings complete here from Atlanta. Mets have an early 1-0 lead in this very pivotal 3-game series. 2 teams tied atop the East, the only division that has not been declared so far. First pitch strike to Brandon Nimmo, who singled to begin the ball game and has scored the game's lone run. Nimmo now has scored 100 runs this year. He adds on to his career high. Kyle Wright ahead 0-2. You look at Kyle Wright and this breakout season that he has had. Now, he started to make a name for himself last October in the postseason, but you look at the time in his career before that in the major leagues. Former first-round draft pick, 5th overall, in fact. Debuted as a 22-year-old back in 2018. You know, John, bust is a strong term, but when you look at a guy who's taken 5th overall out of a baseball powerhouse in Vanderbilt, and his first 4 years of regular season big league baseball, it was bad. Harris given some ground. He will leap in with 2 hands, makes the catch, crashing up against the wall.
That ball carried a long ways. You saw Harris kind of coasting, and then the more he kept going back to the wall, the more the pitcher gets nervous, and he made sure he was going to secure this. No chance of a home run, but this ball went a long ways, and Harris tracks it down. Well, to your point, Aaron, I've been saying for years that's the downside of today's style of baseball. They want you to get it right away. You get drafted, you're a first-round pick, and then you inject it into the lineup, and if you get it, great. If you don't, you bounce around. And he bounced around, and the confidence was gone. He went down to the minors, he went into the pen, he went back to the starter, and the development got delayed.
Riley cuts this off, and Alonso is retired.
And the information overruns the athleticism, and what you think you're good at, information tells you something else. This was thrust in a game where the upside was not great. He had to come into the bases loaded 1 out after really only making 1 or 2 starts last year, and that was the moment that Kyle Wright checked in as a big leaguer and went to camp and felt like he was his job to stay in the rotation. When you're given the opportunity to make 30-some+ starts in the big leagues, you learn on the job. And this instant style kind of, you either got it or you don't, it's not for everybody.
2 outs for Lindor. For more on Wright, Kenny.
Well, John, you remember game 2. He struck out the side. It was kind of a scripted appearance. They wanted him ready for later in the series. And then he did what he did in game 4. Now, after his appearance in game 2, his former Vanderbilt teammate Dansby Swanson retrieved the ball and offered it to Wright as a keepsake. He said, no, I don't want it. I'm going to do this again. And in game 4, he did.
And sure he did. And it's a big reason why the Braves are where they're at this season, because of their rotation. It had some injuries to it. Kyle Wright's been pretty consistent, obviously, to win 20 games this year. But the point I want to make that I think is so overblown, we have so much information, and we have information telling everybody what they're good at, and then you become robotic. And it's like, well, I need to throw a 4-seamer, but I'm a 2-seam guy. Yeah, but the numbers say you should throw a 4-seam. Well, if you can't do that, you start losing your identity. And the one thing that made him special out of Vanderbilt was that 2-seam fastball and curveball, and he went away from it, got back to it, and now he's been able to live out what he had hoped to always do in this season.
They move Riley, their third baseman, into shallow right. Well, when he got away from the in-vogue style of pitching, the 4-seamers up, the slider, the breaking ball down, and it went back to his roots. Boy, has he taken off. This is on a line out to left center. Harris plays the skip. Lindor, a 2-out single. It looked like for a moment it might be the second straight quick inning for Wright.
Well, in an era where we're all about missing barrels, right? Swing and miss, strike. But you can pitch the contact and be effective. And he finally had that confidence to do that. Get the ball on the ground, strike out when you need it, but fill up the strike zone when you have to. And he's been able to do that. Stay away from the big innings that were getting him in trouble before.
Well, it's not like he's a soft tosser. I mean, this isn't Dallas Keuchel in his heyday when he's getting ground ball double plays throwing it 88 to 90. I mean, his average fastball is 95.
I'm telling you, 4 years ago I was banging the drum of this kid, and I still believed in him, and I knew that he would get to this point. He had 4 quality pitches, above average changeup, really good curveball, and a slider, and that 2-seam fastball that kind of went in his back pockets come back out, and this year is kind of proven.
McNeil singled earlier. Bounce away a high fastball for strike 1.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying the information's bad, but when it all is driving what you do and how you do it, you start thinking, well, maybe I'm not that good. Maybe I thought I was good at this, and the computer's saying I'm good at that. And you start chasing some of the results and the information that comes your way, and you forget about the feel of pitching, the adjustment you have to make, and your mechanics.
1 ball and 1 strike to Jeff McNeil. And McNeil's got a chance at a batting title this year. He's trying to chase down Freddie Freeman. Freeman batting .327 entering today. McNeil a base hit earlier. He's up to .323. Last season was a struggle, barely hit .250. This year, back to normal for McNeil.
It was an aberration. You could throw that one away because he's just a pure hitter. He's got great hands and a good feel for the strike zone and where to kind of, you see that bat? Nobody has a bat like that. Well, it's unique to him because he can throw that barrel to wherever the pitch is.
And McNeil, a really good golfer. You can speak to that.
Great golfer.
This bat resembles, handle of a golf club. Kind of get that wedge shot going a little bit.
He can hit the ball down just like you would hit and attack a golf ball, right? And think that stroke he has, and that, look, it's just mechanically sound. That's why the big funks, and he won't go into many slumps.
Ground ball. Right there is Olson at first base. Right, leaves a man.
Harris, 2 terrific catches tonight. Michael, which one did you like better?
Probably the second one. I mean, Nimmo hit it pretty good, and I just had to find the wall and try to get the ball at the same time, and that's what I did.
Michael, thanks very much. Aaron, back to you.
All right, thank you, Kenny. How about the two-handed leaping catch? Obviously for the wall comer, you don't see that very often.
No, he's definitely. He's upgraded the entire outfield because, you know, Acuna coming off that injury playing right field. Whenever Acuna is playing right field and you got a center fielder doing what he's doing there, you're in pretty good shape from 2/3 of the outfield.
Eddie Rosario leading things off. There's that curveball again. Nothing in 2.
Not too many pitches that Rosario doesn't like when he sees them. He loves to swing, but he's found a way last year. When he got locked in, he was so huge for the Atlanta Braves. He's starting to heat up again.
Hit .383 in the postseason. OPS to over 1,000. In fact, if you look at the LCS only, he hit .560 with 3 homers. He drove in 9 in 6 games.
It was a beach ball. I mean, it wasn't a baseball. He saw it and he hit it. But that's exactly what you should be doing if you're Max. You get ahead 0-2 and you don't have to throw another strike. You really still don't have to throw another strike if you make it close enough, because Eddie likes to swing the bat and he'll find it. He'll one-hop it.
2 balls and 2 strikes. He swings and misses, almost spins around like a top.
He tried to one-hop it.
Second strikeout tonight for Scherzer. Well, we just heard Ken speaking with Michael Harris II. If you've missed his efforts defensively already, this liner knuckling out to end the inning. Able to make the catch, and then Nimmo gives us a ride. Nimmo got Nimmo. Nimmo is one of the great catches of the year by an outfielder this season. Yanks this outside, ball 1 to Arcia. Well, the Braves were looking forward to the day this year when Ozzie Albies was able to come off the injured list after a broken foot. That finally happened not all that long ago, and then just 2 games into his return, suffers a severe finger injury and is back on the injured list.
Such an unbelievably, literally bad luck.
So Arcia helping to fill the void. Canha is right there for round number 2. Well, you look at this slide a few weeks ago, right into Gene Segura of the Phillies. From Washington comes out and was not good. Vaughn Grissom, another rookie for Brian Snitker. He's had some time at second base. He's cooled.
Acuna, he should be aggressive on this first pitch. Let's see if Max throws him something other than a fastball. Yeah, he went after him with a fastball right down the middle. It's almost like sometimes you see hitters, and he's been struggling just a little bit. Acuna's been missing some time. He's got some nagging injuries, of course, coming back from that knee injury last year. But boy, if he gets going, top of that lineup for the Braves.
This dribbles weakly to third base. Escobar, not in time.
And the one thing the Braves have told Acuna, and it's not going to be what it looks like on a routine ball hit to a player, you won't see him run out of the box. He was trying to conserve that knee, but on this one you'll see him get after it and he'll get that hit. He's still got the stolen bases, so they're basically asking him to pick and choose when he gets after it because they want to preserve him with that knee recovery for the remainder of this season and obviously in the postseason.
Well, he did not start any of the 4 games in a recent series against the Phillies because of mid-back tightness. And of course the knee as well. We've seen the Braves earlier this year, and Snitker has said he can't hardly walk after some games.
Yeah, I mean, he came back really fast, and the plan was in the beginning of the year to DH him for most of that first half and then put him in the outfield, but he was showing such signs of wanting to get out there. Some people may have felt, he got back too soon in the defensive position and maybe reaping some of that, the naggingness of that knee that's not completely healed.
Swanson lost the helmet. Well, for more on that recovery, we go down to Ken.
Well, Braves third base coach Ron Washington, when he was a player, had the same injury as Acuna, but he was a little older. And Washington said it's difficult for Acuna to deal with his body occasionally feeling uncomfortable. It's not familiar for a young player. He said it's been a mental drain on Acuna. In his mind, he should be able to do everything. When you're older, you know what you can do, and don't worry about the things you can't.
That makes sense. Deep in the hole, and it clanks off Lindor's glove. Acuna pedaling for third. He'll get there standing. Swanson puts it in play firmly, and the Braves have him on the corners.
Well, you're going to see a gear from Acuna right here. It looks like it might be an out. Now watch him turn it on right there. That's what I'm talking about. He still has the explosiveness. That ball was hit firmly by Swanson. Takes a bad hop right there. Catches Lindor in an in-between hop. Have they ruled that an error yet? Fielder's
that is an error.
Okay. I'm doing my scorecard at pen. I got to make sure, can't go what I think anymore, because obviously that doesn't work.
That's been true for years. 2 outs and 2 on for Harris.
I still don't see how that's a fielder's choice E6. I guess E6 would be sufficient, wouldn't it?
Harris stings this. Nimmo cutting across, and Nimmo reels it in. Oh, we have seen some great center field plays tonight on both sides. Each has taken a hit away from another. Looking at those eyes, Mad Max. It is October.
Oh, he's competitive. You know, he's one of those guys you put your head on the pillow, like a lot of our guys, most of all our guys, but he competes. It's fun to watch. I got a great seat. You do too.
The first inning, did you think you were going to get more from Wright or more out against Wright?
No, I think he had 30 pitches through 15 curveballs and 1 slider. So, you know, you take whatever you can get off a quality pitcher like that, and that's been a strength of theirs and ours. And you know, he competes. If you get a chance, you need to try to get one across. Eske had a good at bat to give in with 2 strikes and get it done.
Thank you, Buck. Back to you guys.
Harris makes his catch easily. Escobar is now number 1. Yeah, you saw the graphic. A lot of wins for Buck Showalter without getting a ring. Is this the year? That elusive World Series ring goes to Buck Showalter.
I'm telling you, not only has he done a great job, the organization's done a great job to give him the complement of players, to give the Mets the depth they needed. Look, the Mets have always been one of the favorites to get to a postseason play based on their starting rotation. But what have there been problem? Injuries. Every year their pitching staff can stay healthy. Same thing this year, but they have more weapons to use to get them to this best record part of the season. I mean, Jacob deGrom missed what, 4 months, and they were still able to have the best record for the longest time. They hit their little swoon when the Braves won 14 in a row, and you know, both these clubs were built to get to the World Series. Now, obviously, one of these clubs is going to have to get through the LA Dodgers because they look like the prohibitive favorites. What they've done with their injuries.
Well, Vogelbach shoots this into left field. Began the year with the Pirates. He's had some good moments with the Mets.
Gets on top of a high sinker, not intended to throw it up there, but because he threw it up there, gave him the opportunity to hit it over there. That ball's down. He cannot hit it over there.
One on for Mark Canha.
Where would you line him up on the football field? I mean, nose guard, or?
You know, Vogelbach's a big Florida Gator fan.
Okay.
A Florida guy. I mean, plenty of Saturdays spent at the Swamp, I would say, for Vogelbach. Go.
It's got to be nose guard, right over the center.
I was going to go fullback.
I don't know. Blocking back.
There aren't many fullbacks anymore. Canha fouls this away. Plenty of new faces in Flushing this year. You know, Mark Canha, we were talking about him earlier. Marte, man, they're really still feeling his absence, and there's not a great timetable on his injured finger. Bassett will go tomorrow. We've talked about Escobar, how great of a month he has had entering October. Canha, about a steady Eddie of a veteran outfielder as you can find. Great on base abilities. And part of that's because he's worn the bullseye this year, not just this year, for his career, really.
Wow, that was nasty. That was nasty to a hitter that rarely swings like that. You talk about his ability to command the strike zone and put the ball in play. That ball had such late sink. It started in the middle of the strike zone. Look at this. And then disappears to a hitter, a pretty good hitter who knows where the barrel of the bat's going.
Canha's face right after that swing and a miss probably said all you need to know. Third strikeout for Wright.
Okay, I ended.
Tonight's telecast is sponsored by Mattress Firm, where you can say good night to junk sleep. And by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Only pay for what you need. Oh, what a scene it has been really all season long here at Truist Park. The Battery just outside. Last night, their 40th sellout of the season, and tonight looking like their 41st.
Yeah, this place has been rewarded. Slow start to the season. You know, a lot of people are talking about I don't believe in that hangover stuff after a postseason stuff. They just started slow and weren't hot, got hot, and now thrust themselves in the potential to win another division. Was it like 2 days in first place, maybe something like that?
Well, the Mets have held first place for all but 2 days this year. And now share at the top spot in the East.
I am good.
Everybody's all right.
Yeah, I think the Phillies held it for 1 day and the Braves held it for 1 day. There's your two.
I'm hugging you because I'm on people.
And you know one thing about Bucks team that we asked him about, I really believe, you know, a lot of managers say this and you're like, I don't know if I believe that. He said we just don't get too high and we don't get too low. We really do not get carried away with whatever's going on. It's a very low-key, check your egos type playing team that he's assembled, and he loves it.
Smoked out to right field, carrying back onto the warning track. Acuna has it right in front of the fans. Round number 3. Naquin gives it a ride. Right strands a runner. Bottom of the 4th, Mets have the lead. Austin Riley leads it off and swings away at the first pitch for strike 1. "38 home runs this year for the young third baseman. 0-2. He's having just a monster year. MVP consideration to say the least.
Well, he closed some windows that pitchers could go to, and what I mean by that is every hitter that is young and adjusting to while they're being pitched, he still can get out with a slider away, but he doesn't swing at every one of them he sees come out of the pitcher's hand now. Can't miss in on him. That's where his power is. Can't miss out over the plate. So, you know, Max is going to try and throw a slider off of the plate, I would think, to get him out.
There you go. Well, it's the combination of hitting for average and also with a lot of damage.
Yeah.
I mean, you consider that league average batting average right now is in the low 240s. Riley entered tonight 275, and he's knocking on the door of 40 homers. Gets jammed.
I feel like I say this every time, but in spring training, you know, he worked extensively with Chipper Jones. Chipper's one of the greatest hitters of all time for the Atlanta Braves and in baseball. And the approach was to get his hands in a position to where he didn't just keep swinging that pitch out over the plate, that slider that he would chase, and he did a great job.
No. Well, there's that curveball with 2 strikes. This time it misses in. Olsen on deck. Riley and Olsen went back-to-back last night off at DeGrom.
You know, it's rare that we get to this point in the season where both clubs could kind of line up their starting pitching to get to this point. They made some adjustments. They wanted DeGrom going Friday, Scherzer on Saturday. Same thing with the Braves lining up, you know, Max Fried and now Kyle Wright. So both teams get what they want. They get to execute, and the team that does it the best, of course, has the leg up for those last 3 games of the year.
Stung fair left field. Riley gets into second base with a stand-up double.
This is exactly what we were talking about on a guy that is locked in now as a major league hitter. He doesn't miss the pitches he knows he needs to hit. And if a pitcher makes a mistake, like Max did here on the 3-2 pitch, watch where it was supposed to be and watch where it was. Right there. He stays on the ball. He wasn't so pull conscious that he pulls it foul, but he stays on the ball and gets rewarded with a double down the line.
marking his 50th multi-hit game of the season. That ties Jeff McNeil of the Mets for 6th most in baseball. Scalded down the line. A foul ball. It's allowed strike one. Showed you a graphic that Riley leading the league in extra base hits. How about Matt Olson not far behind? Riley 38 home runs, Olson 31.
Well, the Mets are going to have a hard time keeping Riley close with this shift while Olson's at the plate.
0-2.
He could almost get as big a lead as he wants. With Lindor that far back, the Mets would have to put on a play to pick off Riley.
Lindor trying to hear the pitch comp. Oh, 2.
Classic Scherzer. Speed him up, slow him down, speed him up. First pitch, fastball, pulls down the line, throws the changeup, and then tries to get him to chase up with the fastball.
Ground ball through the left side. Riley's coming home, and Matt Olson has tied this game in the 4th.
I think Max would love to have that pitch back, but what a great job by Olson putting the ball in play against the shift. Ball is down. All he did was hit a ground ball that side. He's trying to bury this pitch in, and see how it spun and stayed over the plate. Olson stays back and puts the ball in play, knowing full well nobody over there. Tie game.
Darno ropes this down the line. Foul ball. A happy fan.
Yeah, you can tell Max is missing just a little bit of finish on his pitches. You know he's out there battling in the big game. He can pitch without his best stuff, there's no doubt. But he's thrown 2 pitches now to 2 consecutive hitters. First pitch that's been pulled down the line. Look for this to be an off speed. He's saving velocity when he needs it. I really believe that. He can still throw it to 96, 97 if he needs to, but he's conserving right now and trying to battle this inning and keep it to 1 run. And there it is. I mean, anytime a hitter takes your fastball and pulls it down the line, that's a weapon to keep him off the fastball. Now he can rush a fastball back up if he wants to. Be interested to see if he stays away with another breaking ball with Darno.
The 0-2.
The reason that was a great pitch is was at the same spot that he got to swing. Here's the first pitch. He misses badly with location. Okay, now he comes back with the slider out of the zone completely. Follows it with the exact same pitch and almost gets the result. Now it could speed him up if he wants to.
Ground ball. Escobar to second. On to first base. And the throw is there in time for the double play. Mets go around the horn behind Scherzer.
That's how you battle. Like Scherzer is never going to convey he doesn't have his best stuff. You're never going to see that. But with that one pitch, he cleared 2 and can reset his internal clock.
High fives for Olson, who has tied the game with that RBI single.
Be very careful on a first pitch fastball here to him.
Yeah, Ozuna, low average, but 22 home runs this year.
Well, when he's right, nobody keeps the barrel of the bat. The bat through the zone as good as Ozuna does.
No.
It's amazing. He's got that bat vertical, but when he swings, it almost like he slices the middle of the strike zone. It looks like his bat's longer than everybody else's. That's because it's when he's hot and locked in, it stays in the zone longer, which allows him to square a ball up.
Line underneath the glove of Escobar. Ozuna will make the turn. This ball dives in front of the fans. Canha gets to it. And with 2 outs, Ozuna doubles.
Watch how flat this swing is, and this is exactly what I was talking about. The pitch is in the middle of the zone, but watch how flat. See how the barrel of the bat looks like it gets right to the ball and stays in the zone? That's a unique style of hitting that has made him so good when he is hot. When the timing's off, obviously, it shows in the average, but that ball was scalded down the line. Now this is a totally different approach, where the barrel of the bat is all over the place, but it's trying to find the ball for wherever it's at.
Chance for Eddie. Time call. And we mentioned his postseason numbers from last year. MVP of the NLCS. Fond memories for this fan base. What he did last October. First pitch curve.
I don't think he's thrown him a strike yet. I mean, he's swung it pretty much the strikes, if I recall.
He struck him out earlier his last at bat. See if he tries to get him to chase again.
There's a strike in the bottom part of the zone. This is the type of game that I'm being very interested. I know the Braves can play it differently, but I would think that Buck is going to bring in his high leverage guys as soon as he feels like he could get the edge and got the lead with that bullpen that can throw gas. It wouldn't surprise me if Diaz throws 2 innings tonight if they're given a lead, because that's how important this game is to both clubs. Huge leg up.
Oh, we've seen it before this year from Diaz. Having an all-time season. Another 0-2. Shallow right field. McNeil lined up in the right spot to strand Ozuna. A run comes home on Olson's RBI single, and after 4, all tied at 1. With the AL and NL wildcard rounds on the networks of ESPN, check your local listings for time and channel once the matchups are set. Then the NLDS gets underway on October 11th, only on Fox and FS1. Tomas Nido, number 9 hitting catcher, leads off the 5th inning for the Mets. All tied now. Compare for us Kyle Wright in the 1st inning and Kyle Wright since the 2nd.
He's in better rhythm with his fastball, and his fastball got him a couple walks in the 1st inning, got him behind the 8 ball, if you will. And he always has his curveball and breaking ball whenever he wants it, but he pitches off the first base side of the rubber, and that's the easier side to lose your front shoulder, to lose your command on your fastball. It just seems like his rhythm is better. Got through that 1st inning without, with minimal damage, throwing his fastball a lot better.
Fastball misses inside. 3 balls and a strike to Nido. Yeah, 30 pitch 1st inning for Wright. He was able to keep the damage at a minimum, just the 1 run. He stranded 2 runners in scoring position. Swanson to his left. 360 pop up on to first. Dynamite play.
I mean, that's a great play. 3-1 sinker right down the middle that squares up. And Swanson knows who's hitting, right? So when he gets it, he's got plenty of time. He doesn't have to panic. Takes his time. Crow hops and throws a strike to first. This young man has been playing great baseball the last 2 years, and everybody knows what the future is going to be as far as he will be a free agent, and he's having a great free agent season.
I wish people could have seen your eyes like I did when you said that.
Yeah, he is. It's best timing.
And a good shortstop class coming on the market this winter. First pitch strike to Nimmo. Carlos Correa can opt out of his contract. Signed that mega 3-year deal with the Twins, but with player opt-outs after year 1 and 2. Trey Turner also part of that class. Slapped out to left. Rosario. And of course, Bogarts can opt out. 2 down, all time. What a pivotal 3-game series. Braves winning last night, so the Mets and the Braves now 98 and 59. Both teams are guaranteed a spot in the postseason, but who will win the division? There is no game 163 anymore. With the new playoff format, that is a thing of the past. So the head-to-head record is everything. Here's Pete Alonso.
And the resources you're going to have to expand to get to this point could be tough for both clubs, in the sense that it could go down to the final game of the season. 2 great rules. First, the playoff change, fantastic, rewarding the best 2 teams. The other playoff change, everybody plays at the same time on the final game of the season, which is huge.
You can't alter your rotation or change something personnel wise if you know a game has gone final, if you're on the West Coast. And competition out of the East. Ever since that first inning, it has been a story of efficiency for Kyle Wright. 2 outs, nobody on. 0-2 to Alonso. Ground ball firmly struck out into left field. Alonso is aboard for the 2nd time. His first hit. Well, National League on the right. Now, right now we have the Mets as the 2 seed, the Braves as the 4. Don't panic. It's simply because of the head-to-head. As it stands right now, the Mets have a 1-game advantage in the season series. That's why tonight and of course tomorrow is so pivotal. But if you look at the 2 sides, the top and the bottom of the bracket, really, who can avoid playing the Dodgers the longest?
Right, that's exactly right. And who can avoid using their resources in that best of 3 that then takes on either the Mets or the Braves in that second series, kind of using some pretty good resources. So it puts those teams in advantage having a bye.
Oh boy, right off the home plate umpire's mask.
And when you start building the roster of your potential game 1 and game 2 starters, you really want to face the Mets and DeGrom and Max Scherzer and Bassett, having come off of, let's say, a 3-game series or a 2-game series. That's the difference of this year being rewarded for the long journey and the best 2 records. Dodgers have had that sewed up for a long time, so they've never been sweating. But it's these 2 clubs that are trying to get that 2nd seed.
For more on the Dodgers, Ken?
Well, I'll give you a counterpoint. If you face the Dodgers in a 7-game series, they could grind you down with their depth. You might be better off getting them in a 5-game series. I'm not saying you'd rather finish 2nd in the NL East and have the chance of losing a best of 3, but there is that element. The Dodgers are so good, you might not want them in 7.
Yeah, it's to pick your poison, right? I mean, you're hoping if you can avoid them until the later series that they get knocked off, which would be, I think, unthinkable. You're hoping to avoid them altogether. Again, that seems unthinkable.
I just know the way these rosters and these 2 teams are built. These 2 teams are very, very good, and either one of them, you can make an argument, could win the World Series. But it is going to be really difficult to win the World Series if you're coming out of anything but the 1st and 2nd seed, based on the way the National League is set up, because it's so top heavy. Not saying it's impossible.
Lindor, Harris, this is in front of him. Lindor, he's got himself a multi-hit night with 2 outs. Mets continue to apply the pressure. Alonso into second.
An 0-2 pitch that you're hoping, if you're Kyle Wright, doesn't come back to haunt you against Alonso. 2 nasty pitches, he got a hit, and then here's the breaking ball that stays in the middle of the zone that allows Lindor to keep the rally going with 2 outs. And now you're facing a guy that all he does is get hit. So Kyle Wright's worked himself into a little bit of a pickle here, having a clean inning, 2 outs, 0-2 to Alonso, and now he's got first and second, 2 outs.
Hey, you look at McNeil, fastballs, off speed, breaking balls. He hits them all.
Yep.
How would you pitch him?
You got to, I mean, you got to find a way to get him a little bit off balance. Down and in is not how you pitch him. He can golf that, literally swing that bat like a golf club and get you. That right there, anything sinking away gets him to hit the ball on the ground and maybe be a tiny bit off balance.
And the changeup has been a really good pitch this year for Wright. A lot of swings and misses, low average against it. Two outs, 2 on. Mets threatening here in the 5th inning. Into left field. Alonso is coming around third base. And of course, McNeil gets another hit. He has put the Mets in front here in the 5th inning. How do you pitch to this guy? It's a 2-1 Mets lead.
Well, that's a byproduct of why this Mets lineup and this team is so good. They rally, they come back late. No inning is easy because they grind them out. And that is just classic hitting that we don't get a chance to see too often across the league, because the style of hitting is so unique. On driving the ball over the wall, he just drives the ball over the infield.
Well, what do we say all the time coming the postseason? How hard it is to string together hits against elite starting pitching with 2 outs, 3 straight singles. We mentioned earlier how contact driven this Mets lineup is. 3rd lowest strikeout rate, 3rd highest contact rate. And yet it seems like, John, curious your thoughts, they have found kind of a sweet spot there. They're still a top 10 team in terms of the slug. You know, home runs, they're kind of middle of the pack, a lot of doubles. They can still park it over the fence. Alonso's a big part of that, obviously. 40 home runs.
Look, they've had a hard time offensively for whatever reason in their home ballpark until recently. I mean, that ballpark played huge. They moved the fences in, but I think the confidence of their lineup gives the ability to pass the baton on, meaning next guy can do it. Just keep the line moving, and you know, they don't always have to hit the 2- and 3-run homers to create rallies. Although this guy single-handedly won a game 3 nights ago with 5 RBIs by himself.
Yeah, the best chapter in what was just a scalding hot month of September for Eduardo Escobar. At well below 200 in August. Wednesday in Miami, 3 hits. He drove in all 5 runs for the Mets, including the walk-off base hit. Ground ball to the point of the shift. Routine play there for out number 3. Jeff McNeil, the final of 3 straight 2-out hits, and he has given the Mets the lead. Darno and Wright talking things over in the dugout after the Mets take the lead.
It's a hard thing to let go sometimes. You just think about your team scored a run to tie the game, and you were cruising with 2 outs, 0-2, and the other team comes back and takes the lead. Here's the pitch we were talking about, and as a pitcher, you know, as soon as you throw it, you're like, oh no, 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 no. It's a breaking ball that stays too much in the zone, and of course Alonso gets what looks like a harmless base hit. It turns into 2 more base hits. Mets lead.
A weak wave and a miss. Arcia is down on 3 pitches. Third strikeout for Scherzer. He is now tied Hall of Famer Fergie Jenkins for 12th all time. Got a long ways to go to get to Niekro after this one.
Yeah, but Justin Verlander and him are going to be jockeying back and forth for a while.
Former rotation mates. Back to the top of the order. Acuna fouls this away. Now, Scherzer's teams have won his last 5 starts against the Braves. That includes all 3 this year. He's pitched into the 7th inning each time. A check swing. Could this work? Is this going to be fair? Acuna takes a wide turn, throws it in reverse. Wow.
That's why they asked the umpires if he went. There's your evidence right there. That's why you got to check. Check swing, got a hit.
I mean, that, when you're good, you're good.
Well, did he go? I don't know. I don't know if he went. I think you might be able to say he didn't go.
What's Max thinking right now?
Well, in Max's mind, that's just a fluke and no big deal. But what he is thinking right now is, how do I keep him at first base? Right? I mean, he's grinding out. Max smells wins after the 5th inning about as good as anybody. When he's right, he can shut the door on you. But right now, he's got a little bit of an issue with making sure that Acuna doesn't get another stolen base.
He's got 28 of them. Has been caught 11 times, though. Ball 1 to Dansby Swanson.
I really think there's going to be an interesting twist to the rules that come into throwing over to first base next year. Only twice per at bat, right?
Yeah, either throwing over or disengaging.
Right.
Now, you can throw over a 3rd time. You just got to get them.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Well, the stinking left-handed pitchers, they got all the advantage.
They have to shift on here for Swanson. Another throw over.
All Max is trying to do at this point is just create a timing issue and mess up the timing of Acuna if he's thinking about stealing. You vary your times.
Long hold. Swing and a miss. Now, Wright really had Cruz through the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Got the first 2 outs quickly in the 5th before 3 straight hits and a run scored. Throws a water balloon over there.
Just really trying to create stress so that it affects the pitches that come to Swanson at the plate, and then the hitter benefits.
Two one. Check swing. They appeal. Oh, they say that he goes. 2-2. And Swansby's saying, hey, Acuna got a hit off one of those. Instead, it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. One out, Acuna at first base. Another long hold. In the dirt. Safe over at first base. That was close. Acuna. A little tender.
Good pick and a quick throw. Pretty good slide to get back. Switched hands right at the last minute. I think the tag might have.
High fly, center field. This is back and gone. Home run, Dansby Swanson. Go ahead, 2-run blast. That was a good pitch. Could have been called a strike. Should have been. Harris catches a break.
Well, he doesn't miss many fastballs. 3-2 count. Of course, Acuna is running, and he won't have to run after that. He can jog.
Of the importance of the Acuna check swing base hit now looms large. Nito and Nimmo rather and Harris just keep hitting fly balls to one another. There's out number 2. Back to it.
Really thought we'd see a 3-2 slider here, but he went with the fastball, and you see 93 miles an hour. Center cut. Dansby so far is having a phenomenal series against 2 of the best pitchers in the National League.
Fringy strike 1, catches the edge. O'Reilly has a couple of hits tonight. He has singled and doubled, also scored a run. This is blasted down the line. Is it fair? It is a foul ball. We've had a few of those tonight. 0-2.
You're watching a veteran pitcher who is out there without his best stuff, grinding away. He's not the finish on the pitch. You could tell there's just something just a little bit off, but he's still grinding. He was 1 pitch away from leaving the 5th, possibly with a 1-run lead. Now he's got 1-run deficit.
Swing and a miss. Chasing off the plate. It all started with Ronald Acuna Jr. trying to hold back a check swing and a flare into right field for a knock, and then Swanson, he has homered off DeGrom and Scherzer in back-to-back nights and has given the Braves the lead after 5. yourself a series. Dansby Swanson. Go-ahead home run tonight. Hey, since August 30th. How about these numbers for the Braves? If they just homer at least one time, they're 19-2. Without going deep, 0-7. Dylan Lee is the new pitcher up on the mound. He takes over for Kyle Wright.
Dylan Lee, you see, he's had a pretty good year. And he's doing the opposite of what that playoff game. He started the game and Kyle Wright came in. Now he's coming in after Kyle Wright.
The 20-year-old Francisco Alvarez, just called up by the Mets, top prospect in baseball, made his major league debut last night. He's a catcher, but will be DHing. Here are the numbers this year in the minors, AA and AAA. He suffered through an ankle injury in AAA, which lowered his numbers.
He's got some pop in his bat, but he's another guy that likes to swing, and he'll find out over time here in the big leagues as he settles in. He'll have to kind of cut down the rapid way in which he swings the bat, but when he makes contact, he's got a chance for some damage. This should be nowhere close to the strike zone if you're thinking along with the pitcher.
Oh, he is brought up to get at bats against lefties. He'll DH. Right-handed hitting, designated hitters have been a real weak link for the Mets this year. Went out and they got Darren Ruff, who had, for his career, been great against lefties. That has not worked out so far. Two and two.
Well, like we said, to be fair, every team deals with some injuries, but the injury to Marte has really changed the dynamic of the Mets offense. He has been so good for them in that pickup. We talked about the free agents that were picked up, and don't know what the season will look like if and when he can get back, but that was a big blow to the. They really haven't had anybody step up to fill that kind of void that he left.
Harris trots in a few steps. One away. That's a big news, big development for Alvarez to make his major league debut last night. For more on that, Ken.
Aaron, he's one of the game's top prospects, and he's already something of a legend inside the Mets organization. He uses a 34-inch, 32-ounce bat, a log in the estimation of fellow Mets prospect Brett Baty. Jake Magnum, another Mets prospect, told The Athletic he once saw Alvarez hit 5 straight opposite field home runs in batting practice. He's a guy who started off slowly at AAA, then told the Mets, hey, I've got an ankle problem. He'd been fighting through it. And after that, went on the injured list for 3 weeks, came back, tore up AAA, and here he is.
Well, he's built like a fire hydrant. He's put together, just 20 years old, as Canna grounds out on the first pitch. Alvarez was catching some grief last night. He swung so hard in 2 different at-bats, he lost the bat. Went flying away. He was ready to hit.
I'm glad we didn't have those things when I was playing.
The iPads?
Yeah.
You're more of a clipboard guy?
No, I'd be watching a lot of the pitches. You get sometimes, I mean, it's good for hitters and all that. Sometimes you get too, if you're pitching in the game and you know when you release a ball, I mean, it's more for later work. I just be, let me see that pitch. Let me watch that inning.
On Saturdays, you'd be watching Michigan State on that thing. Is what you'd be doing.
They don't allow that.
You figure it out.
They're programmed.
Softly popped up foul. Swanson. Foul ground.
Back here at Truist Park with Braves manager Brian Snitker. Brian, Max Scherzer, one of the game's best. How have you been able to chip away?
Well, you know what? Like I said earlier, it's kind of like you have to really grind at bats off him because he just doesn't give you a whole lot to hit. When you get a mistake, hopefully you put it in play because it's just he's such a competitive guy and just never quit pitching.
You told us before the game that you felt like the playoffs started with this series. How much did last year's experience in the postseason help this club?
Well, I think it always does. I think the more postseason games you play, it just, as these guys get older, they go through more, the trials and tribulations of the postseason, and it becomes kind of normal.
Snick gonna call it. It's gone!
They hit him against us when I'm on TV.
Snitker might take that microphone out of King's hand at this rate. The Braves add on.
Matt Olson is an extra base machine, and they're hoping they see plenty of that in the playoffs. We mentioned the Braves, they hit a lot of home runs. What is that, 5 now against 2 of the best?
Well, Swanson and Olson have homered at back-to-back nights off of DeGrom and Scherzer. In steps Darno. Skimming over to third base, Escobar. Routine out number 1.
Well, he stayed back long enough on that changeup. See how that changeup, he gets it a little bit off the end of the bat, but he knows he may have got enough as he lifts it in the air. Ball travels. It's a little cooler in the latter part of the months here of the season, but just creeps over the wall.
We talked about how this is a playoff game, right?
Yep.
This series, this is a playoff series. These two teams tied for the top record in the East. It's the only division in baseball that has not been decided. DeGrom, 3 home runs last night allowed. Braves win. Scherzer, 2 home runs allowed tonight. Braves are winning. Blood blister for DeGrom on his finger, pulled early last night. Mets aren't concerned about it. They feel like they got ahead of it. You've mentioned tonight you don't feel like Scherzer's working with his best stuff. Maybe it's unfair to ask, can you tell? Is this oblique related or just one of those nights where even the best don't have their best stuff?
I think it's a combination of, not every night you're going to have your best stuff. I mean, less than 25%. But I've seen Max enough, and knowing that 2 times now he's had to come back from a similar injury, it's human nature just to protect a little bit. I'm not saying that's what he's doing. I'm just thinking that his finish on his pitches is just enough off to give these Braves hitters who are good the ability to square up some pitches. And when Max gets to that level, what we've seen before, there's an extra oomph and maybe even a grunt. There's none of that tonight, and he's battling like he always does, trying to give his team a chance to win a game.
Ball of 2 strikes to Ozuna. Mets scored back in the first as Lugo warms in the Mets bullpen. Braves tied into the 4th inning. Mets regained the lead in the 5th. But since then, a couple of home runs by the Braves. Swanson a 2-run shot, and then Olson to lead off this bottom of the 6th inning.
I mean, the optics of coming into this series after the Braves lost the finale, tough game in extra innings, and the Mets won an unbelievable comeback down 4-0 in the 7th. It just looked like it was lined up right perfectly. You got DeGrom, you got Scherzer, and last night's game for the Braves, I mean, to state the obvious, did more for them than it did harm for the Mets, because they had to have that game last night.
Right.
They're 2 games back with 2 to play. The numbers just don't look good when you say it's not impossible, but that game they won against DeGrom, which is a huge boost, Max Fried pitches 5 innings, gets sick, and you mentioned about the blister. That set up this kind of game, of which now the Braves are showing that battle-tested defending champ kind of, hey, we can chase him down and possibly win this division.
Pitch number 100 for Scherzer, and DeGrom making it sound like he does not believe the blister is concerning. Rolled over to third base once again. Escobar, busy man this inning. Well, this season started all Mets in the East. June 1st, their biggest lead. Braves 10.5 games back. July 1st, all right, they start to close the gap, 3.5. It stays flat. August 1st, Mets still in front by 3.5. Then all of a sudden, flip-flop by a half game. And now, as the calendar turns to October, tied for the division lead. And the Braves knock out Mad Max in the 6th inning. He gives up a couple of home runs. We'll step aside. Rosario fouls away the first pitch from Seth Lugo, who has taken over for the Mets. Lugo, the curveball specialist. Drafted and developed by New York. He's carved out quite the career for himself. When you look at the numbers, game 1 and 2 for this Braves lineup taken on as good of a 1-2 punch as there is in baseball. DeGrom and Scherzer. 7 runs, 14 hits, 11 2/3.
And again, the timing of it is perfect too, because some of those guys that have hit those home runs, as we mentioned, were struggling coming into the end of this month. And look, you come to the park, you dream of this series, and you leave spring training, even if you're not the defending champs, you want a chance to play for a series like this. They just don't happen in 162.
Nito throws a fastball to first base. Rosario retired. Matt Olson tacks on for the Braves. Leadoff home run off of Scherzer. After 6 innings, the reigning champs leading 4-2. Bassett going tomorrow for the Mets. Jesse Chavez up on the mound for Atlanta. Nito swings through a high fastball for strike 1. A well-traveled reliever, Jesse Chavez. I mean, even this year he's bounced back and forth.
I mean, he's amazing. I mean, you know, nothing's going to pop out as having just this dynamic stuff. I just think he gets after it, gets after the hitter, throws strikes, and is fearless. 39 years old, still getting it done, no matter what team he's playing for.
Only Kenley Jansen has a higher first pitch strike rate out of the Braves bullpen. You know, he was with the Braves this year and then traded to the Angels in the Raisel Iglesias deal, and then the Angels put him on waivers, and guess who picked him up? Comes back to Atlanta. Played with 9 different teams. Has a lot of coordinating rec specs. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Strike 3 called. Nito frustrated. The 2022 MLB postseason gets underway Friday with the AL and NL wildcard rounds on the networks of ESPN. Check your local listings for the time and channel once the matchups are set. Then the NLDS gets underway October 11th, only on Fox and FS1. Top of the order, Brandon Nimmo. First pitch strike.
He just cuts the ball, he sinks it, changes speeds. That pitch is right down the middle. That's why Nito is so mad at himself. But he's got that lower 3/4 angle, a little bit different. And the ball gets on the hitter a little quicker than they anticipate. That's why I know we have all this technology, but I don't get carried away with a guy who throws 100 and gives up a lot of hits. Give me the guy that throws 92 that the hitter goes, whoa, it looks like 100, and vice versa. And there are some guys that throw 100 don't give up hits, don't get me wrong. But the object of hitting is recognizing spin and timing. And if you can mess with the timing of a hitter's with your delivery or a certain pitch mix, you got an advantage.
Adam Ottavino getting loose inside Buck Showalter's bullpen. Now Chavez has always been fairly slightly built. His freshman year in high school, he weighed 125 pounds. When he graduated high school, he weighed 130. Two. Just misses the corner. When he got into pro ball, he was with the Rangers many years ago. He was so dedicated to gaining good weight, he lived with a nutritionist over the offseason. He gained 20 pounds and then lost it all in spring training with Texas. It took him 7 years and 5 different organizations to pick up his first 300 major league innings. Oh, he really had to grind. He's in his 15th big league season now. Ground ball, deep backhand. Arcia can't field it cleanly. Nimmo finds his way aboard.
Big for the Mets right there, because you got some thunder coming up. And another one of these balls that gets deep to the infielder, and he's trying to gauge that hop. See, once he starts backing up right there, he's trying to gauge a difficult top spin like one hopper.
Well, thunder is right. Here comes Pete Alonso. He's been aboard twice tonight. A walk and a single. 40 home runs on the season. Another first pitch strike.
These guys, forearms got to be some of the strongest in the game. I mean, he is such a good low ball hitter. He showed us what he can do in a home run derby and his philosophy in hitting home runs, but you're not going to see many guys go out of the zone and hit with power like he does.
Well, he shoots this out to right center field. Acuna in front of the warning track.
And there's a good example. That ball takes 2 inches back towards the middle of the plate. That's gone. But that's the beauty of pitching on the corners and just getting off the barrel of the bat. Is he knows how close this was. But look, this is off the plate, and he goes after it and just misses the ability to hit a ball to right center over the fence.
2 outs. Nimmo at first base. Here comes Lindor. He's been aboard twice tonight, a couple of singles. Starting a new on-base streak. He saw his 19-gamer snap last night. Arcia handles this one smoothly to retire the side. Nimmo left stranded. We stretch in Atlanta. Tonight's telecast is sponsored by Jersey Mike Subs. Be a sub above. And by Allstate, reminding you that baseball season is mayhem. 61 years ago, the great Roger Maris hit his 61st home run on this very date. Adam Ottavino, he spins the bottom of the 7th.
You all right?
So here's a guy that creates a unique angle. Starts on the first base side of the rubber, throws completely across his body to create movement and an illusion against right-handed hitters. It'd be tough to hit, and he's on.
He's a slider specialist. That one misses off the plate. 9-1-2 due up here for Atlanta in the bottom of the 7th. First year for Ottavino with the Mets. Last year with the Red Sox for one season. 2 years prior to that, across town in the Bronx.
He's having a hard time picking up the ball, just jumpy at the plate, but you can tell why. That's a tough time. With a pitcher looks like he's throwing the ball behind you. The first move is if you move towards the opposing dugout, you're done as a hitter.
Fastball in the dirt to make it 3-2.
Vino built a lab to create the illusion of this breaking ball that he loves to throw. A pitching lab in his apartment. Right there.
Money well spent.
Well, if you want to know why Jesse Chavez is pitching in the big leagues, he dots a cutter outside off the barrel of the bat. Next hitter comes up, dots it on the other side of the plate.
Stayed off the barrel to two dangerous hitters. Leadoff man retired. Here's Acuna. Got a couple of base hits tonight.
I noticed a little version of a Juan Soto-ism out of Acuna in some of his takes lately. You might see one in this at bat. A little leg shuffle, a little lower half.
The Soto shimmy.
Yeah. See if we see one in this at bat.
On the right field line, man out of play.
It's an interesting discussion when brought up. If you had to draft those two players, which one would go one, which one would go two? Totally different type players for young superstars in Soto and Acuna.
Well, both compared to one another. Both debuting in the same season, both so young, of course. Acuna was 20 when he debuted. That was back in 2018, same season. Soto 19 years old. Hit hard on the ground, a wide open right side. 3-hit night for Acuna. His speed is aboard. It's been a big series so far for Dansby Swanson. You look at his home run, thanks to StatCast, powered by Google Cloud. It was a blast. 108 off the bat, 432. Homered off DeGrom last night, and this evening taking Scherzer deep. In fact, Swanson has the hardest hit ball of the night, the home run we just saw. And 2 of the 5 hardest hit balls in play tonight.
talked about the three guys needing to get hot, and they were struggling in September. Well, they got hot in this series at the right time, and all three have contributed in a mighty way for the Atlanta Braves, currently up 2, trying desperately to take a 1-game lead against the Mets.
I mean, how do you explain that, right? How do you explain three really good hitters being cold for a whole month? They take on 2 of the premier, historically great starting pitchers, and they get hot.
I think the only way to explain it is you're so locked in because you know they're so good, you're looking for any mistake, right? Not that every pitcher they faced they don't have respect for, but it's such in the moment that you know what you're facing. It kind of can't help but hyper focus you.
Time call.
Like I mean I would admit things now that I would never admit while I was playing, but sometimes the team I feared the most was the team that was on an 8-game losing streak, or the guys that were 0 for 15 or 0 for 17. Because human nature, sometimes you think, well, sooner or later they're going to pop out of it. You really want to face those guys in theory. But I think sometimes when you're facing a hot team, a hot pitcher, or a great pitcher, you can't help but go up there and go, I got to get locked in because they'll humiliate me if I'm not on my game.
Ground ball snared. Alonso steps on first, and Acuna. Lindor. Now Acuna, of course, has the knee issue, but that's Nito over at first base. He drops the shin guards down. Now Acuna is out. Join Fox Corporation in donating to support those affected by the devastation of Hurricane Ian. Please visit www.redcross.org or text the word Ian to 90999 to make a $10 donation. Raisel Iglesias, acquired by the Braves from the Angels. He has one of the best setup men in baseball, former closer.
He's got great movement, different angles, different change of speeds. That change-up split is so good. And you see what he's done with Atlanta. The timing, again, perfect for what the bullpen needed.
You saw the minuscule ERA since joining the Braves. 1 earned run in 23 1/3 innings out of the Braves bullpen. Ground ball kicks and caroms. Arcia. Now McNeil, the master of putting the ball in play, gets some poor batted ball luck that time around.
I think I could watch this guy hit all day, and you just see doesn't have to have a perfect full swing. He was trying to serve that up the middle and got a little help. Kick save and a beauty.
McNeil, a couple of base hits tonight, including a go-ahead RBI in the 5th. That was the last time the Mets led. Braves have hit a couple of home runs since then. Here's Escobar. Top of the zone, borderline pitch, called a strike. Activity inside Buck Showalter's bullpen. Escobar had 2 balls and a strike. He's hitless so far tonight. Did pick up an RBI ground out way back in the 1st inning, however.
See, that's the pitch he can go to whenever he wants to. He's got 96, but bottom drops out of that. Looks like he's coming right after you. A 2-1 count and swing over the top of it.
They got him off the plate. Filthy stuff from Iglesias.
Well, this game has lived up to exactly what I thought. A pitcher's duel. Hasn't been a crisp pitcher's duel, but nonetheless well within striking distance for the Mets. You see this changeup coming out of his hand, fading away. The hitter had already committed himself, tried to keep his hands back as long as possible, but filthy changeup.
Alvarez came off the bench back in the 6th inning, took over for Vogelbach.
You think he's going to swing at the first pitch?
20-year-old, for his sake, I hope he holds on to the bat. Both things were true.
I was going to shave my head if he didn't.
One of the most least impactful dares you'll hear about. Oh, and 2. Well, he is an eager young hitter, just 20 years old, top prospect in baseball. Debuted last night, and he has seen some tough stuff out of this Braves bullpen the last couple of nights. Budweiser Zero, full flavor, 0% alcohol, 100% on your game. Pretty smooth sailing 8th inning for Raisel Iglesias. 1-2-3 frame, a couple of strikeouts. David Peterson, former first-round draft pick, has made 19 starts this year, now working out of the Mets bullpen up on the hill.
Yeah, he could be nasty as a starter when he throws strikes, and that's you see the 48 walks.
No.
But he's funky, and right now he's hoping to keep it within striking distance for the 9th.
Facing Michael Harris, who has flown out 3 times. He's scalded a couple of them. He and Brandon Nimmo have been playing catch with one another out there in center field tonight. Three and 0.
And that's the only thing that Peterson can get. He can lose the strike zone from time to time. Big arc and left-handed arm swing.
It's that fastball in there for strike 1. Peterson's especially tough on lefties this year. He gets back into the count.
Did you say strike?
Well, Harris has been good all year. He has been especially good late in games. 355 and OPS over 1,000 from the 7th inning and on. Swings and misses there. Peterson fell behind 3-0, then strikes out the rookie. Enjoy the show as the regular season comes to a spectacular conclusion, and get ready for what happens next. MLB postseason begins Friday. Go to MLB.com/postseason for the full schedule. The celebration for the division winners this year. National League East, the only division still up for grabs. These two teams enter tonight with an identical record. Riley into left field. 3-hit night for Austin Riley.
Now the first image we showed in that highlight, as we watch another hit by Riley. Same scenario, inner half, in between third and short. I don't care who you were as a baseball expert. There's not one person that could tell me they thought the Guardians were going to win the division and be in the position they're in right now. I know Seattle has broken, and it's going to come down to those two teams for manager of the year, in my opinion.
Here's Olsen.
But it is sure great to see Seattle end that drought of what has been too long, right? And now they're getting a chance to experience the playoffs for that city.
20-year playoff drought for the Mariners. Snapped last night on a walk-off 9th inning home run from their young catcher Cal Raleigh. Meanwhile, the Guardians,
it's amazing,
expected to finish 3rd,
maybe
youngest team in baseball. Payroll of $60-ish million.
Payroll under DeGrom potentially and Max Scherzer.
It's been remarkable. Both managers have a case for manager of the year. There's no doubt. Two and one. First 2 games versus DeGrom and Scherzer. 14 hits, 5 homers. They've tagged the pair for 7 runs in 11 2/3 innings. For the backstop. Riley is into second. Three balls and a strike. Olson homered his last at bat. He has a multi-hit night.
Oh, man. If nothing else, Buck is getting a chance to see what Peterson can do in these kind of situations for the postseason. When you think about their starting rotation and their bullpen, pretty heavily stacked already, but could there be a place for these kind of scenarios for Peterson, and seeing how he handles this tight game in the 9th inning,
and especially if you go up against the left-handed heavy lineup.
Yes.
Wave and a miss. 2 outs, a couple of strikeouts. Buck is coming out to make a change. Peterson faces his required 3 batters. Faces the minimum that he has to. We'll step aside. Pitching change coming up. Official on-field jerseys, caps, t-shirts, and more. Outfit the whole family with your favorite gear at MLBshop.com. d'Arnaud to face a new pitcher. Braves and Mets tied atop. Of course, the Mets came to town with a 1-game lead. Braves won last night and in position to win again tonight to take over the top spot tomorrow. Oh, another great pitching matchup. Bassett versus Morton. Morton with another 200 strikeout season. d'Arnaud swings and misses at a high fastball up and in from Drew Smith. Time call. Yeah, if the Mets wanted to win obviously last night because they came to town controlling their own destiny. They were in the driver's seat. If the Mets, now this is a tough task. Let's not belittle this, but if they were to sweep the Braves, they would have won the East.
Right.
They would have left town division champions. They lost last night. So that is now out of the equation. If the Braves hold on and win this one, they would then not only go to first place, but they would even the season series at 9 games apiece.
And that's why everyone was talking about needing to be even coming into this series for the Braves' chances to be successful. They were 1 game back, so the probability of sweeping was highly unlikely when you deal with those kind of things. And if tonight holds out in the 9th, they've got that chance.
That's a filthy fastball running in at 96. Kelly Jansen's coming on. He's trying to close the door. ninth inning. Bases were loaded for Kenley Jansen. Well, he took advantage of the rookie Francisco Alvarez. Naquin gave him a battle, but he eventually finished the job. And he's back on to work his second straight night, trying to protect a 2-run lead here in the ninth inning.
The one thing about Kenley Jansen, you don't know if the bases are loaded. A 1-run game or a 5-run game. I mean, he treats everything the same. The one thing, though, in a very tight game like tonight, a runner on base, pretty hard for him to hold him there. Going to walk to second.
First pitch strike. Jansen's had some turbulence this year. First year with the Braves, free agent addition. In a recent 7-outing stretch, he blew 3 saves. The latest was on September 11th in Seattle. He gave up 2 home runs, I should say, in a walk-off win for the Mariners in Seattle. But since then, has been able to right the ship by and large.
Well, it's all about the movement of his cutter, and sometimes the cutter is flat, sometimes it has a mind of his own and takes a turn. Because velocity has never been as important to him. He's 6 foot huge, and he's coming out with that long delivery, so seeing the ball is already difficult for the hitter. But watch when the movement of the late cutter happens, then the hitter really has a hard time.
The 0-2.
I mean, that's right down the middle, but the late cut action and that long arm delivery with that glove in front of his face, watch what they got to look at, and then the ball just kind of disappears in the middle of the zone. Now, if that ball didn't have the cutting action, hitter might square it up. That is what makes Jansen difficult at times to hit.
Now, rematch from last night. He was able to strike out Naquin. This is low ball 1.
The other part for Jansen, there's times where he loses the strike zone, and that means he's not connected with his mechanics or the feel for that pitch coming out of his hand. He does throw strike 1 a lot to hitters.
Now, since he became a full-time closer in 2012, he leads baseball in saves, second in appearances, most innings and strikeouts.
No.
Just beneath the knees. Good take.
Down. That was a good take. Last night's game was a 3-1 game that ended up with the bases loaded, as we mentioned, and some nervous moments. This is just one batter gets on, the tying runs at the plate.
Ground ball. Arcia, short distance toss, 2 outs. When the Mets came to town, they held the division lead by a game. And they are 1 out away from falling to second place. The Mets have been in first place in the East this year for all but 2 days. Luis Guillorme grabs the bat. Contact specialist. Nearly as many walks as strikeouts this year. Last hope for Buck Showalter and the Mets tonight. He bats for Nido. Could have been ball 1, strike 1 instead. 41st sellout crowd of the season for the Braves. Mets down to their final strike.
This place is about ready to erupt if they get that final out.
The Braves were as far back as 10.5 games in the division. Since the first day in June, Atlanta has been better than every team in baseball but the Dodgers. And tonight trying to vault to the top. The 1-2. The Braves win the series and are in first place in the National League East. The Mets throw DeGrom and Scherzer. The Braves hammer both and are 99-59, a game better than the Mets. The season series is now tied 9 each.
It's amazing. The improbable run last year to win the World Series. Didn't think I'd see anything like it. It's about as improbable as if they sweep a great Mets team, and they have that chance to do tomorrow night. The Mets also can reclaim the series by salvaging tomorrow night's game. Two great teams going down to the wire.
So pivotal tomorrow night. Bassett going for the Mets. Morton for the Braves. They line the rotations up for this one. Brian Snitker told us when he drove to the ballpark last night for game 1, he told his wife as he got in the car, it's the playoffs. They've started now. That's what it's felt like the last couple of nights. Dansby Swanson with a man aboard off of Scherzer. That gave the Braves a 3-2 lead. They took that one-run advantage into the 6th inning. That's when Olsen led things off. And he parks one just over the fence. Each homered off of DeGrom and Scherzer. First 2 games of the series. We go down to the field to Ken Rosenthal.
Thanks, Aaron. Dansby, 2-run homer in the 5th off Scherzer gave the Braves the lead. You hit a 3-2 pitch. It was the first fastball you saw the entire at-bat. What was your mindset going into that pitch?
I think just in that moment, you obviously want to stay calm, you want to breathe, and really just trying to put the barrel on the ball. Sometimes you got to keep this game that simple. You got to be competitive, especially against a guy like Max. It's always a pleasure being able to compete against him, and I'm thankful that I won that battle.
You have home runs the last 2 nights. Matt has home runs the last 2 nights. Austin, some big hits. All 3 of you guys had struggled to varying degrees the past couple of months. What has changed here?
I think sometimes we can overcomplicate things, we can overthink, and really what it's about is about winning, it's about being competitive, and sometimes you got to get out of your own way. And I feel like over the last couple of weeks we've really just decided to compete and lay everything out there and you know, have the chips fall where they may.
You've beaten Jacob DeGrom and Max Scherzer on back-to-back nights. Now, not that you guys ever lack confidence, but what kind of edge does that give you going into the series finale?
Well, I think at the end of the day, we got to still come out here tomorrow and put together a good performance. They obviously have a great team. They're not going to back down from us. And so I think, like I said, we just got to come out, compete, and lay our best ball out there. And, you know, hopefully at the end of the day, we come out with another win.
Dansby, congratulations. Thanks a lot. Aaron, back to you.
Ken, thank you. 2 powerhouses in the National League. Both on track to win 100 games. Only one can take the division. Swanson's go-ahead blast in the 5th. Braves win it 4-2 and are atop the East. We'll be right back to Atlanta after these messages.